From the very beginning, he awakens the ultimate villain system. Not only does he kidnap and humiliate the church's holy saintess, he also captures a group of beastkin girls as slaves, but none of them are angry. Instead, they're competing to warm his bed and bear his children. Even the widows in town want to spend a night with him. Yet at the very start, the man outright rejects the system. His name is Cedric, an utterly ordinary corporate drone, all because of a single electric shock. He's transported into a game world as the villain boss. Having cleared the game before, he knows exactly how this villain meets his end. In the original storyline, he forces himself on the saintess, only to be captured by the game's protagonist and the players, who promptly confiscate his family jewels. So when he hears he's unlocked some so-called villain system, he strongly resists. He's already a villain. Wouldn't this just get him killed even faster? However, the system warns him that if he refuses to bind, he'll either be physically castrated by the players, or forcibly turned into a little girl, or forced to restart with a new character. Of course, completing system issued quests like tormenting the saintess, slaughtering players, or collecting female slaves might change his doomed fate. Left with no choice, Cedric reluctantly agrees to bind with the system. But to his surprise, the system immediately assigns him 3 utterly humiliating quests: steal a child's lollipop, trample a resident's vegetable garden, and beat up a local resident. Cedric is speechless. These are things only thugs would do. But the system tells him that each completed quest grants a lottery draw, and finishing all 3 gives a chance at a massive critical reward. For the sake of the rewards, Cedric suppresses his anger and heads to the streets with his old servant Alfred. Before long, he spots a chubby kid holding a lollipop. Okay, you're the one. Cedric tries every trick he can think of to coax the lollipop out of the kid, but the kid flat out refuses, and immediately starts bawling. Cedric has zero tolerance for crying brats, so he sweet talks the kid, promising 2 lollipops in return for just 1. The moment he finishes speaking, the system warns him not to take it for an idiot. Clearly, there's no fooling the system, so Cedric steals himself. He snatches the kid's lollipop and starts licking it noisily, slurp after slurp. This move leaves everyone present completely stunned. The Lord actually steals a child's lollipop? How shameful. Forget the crowd, even Cedric himself can't stand this ridiculous quest. This is somehow even more embarrassing than tormenting beastkin girls. Still, at least the first quest is finally complete. Next, Cedric heads to a farm on the outskirts, and without a word, starts stomping all over the fields. Before leaving, he casually tosses down a few gold coins, his face full of disdain. Steward Alfred looks confused. Has the Lord lost his mind? Why is he suddenly bullying his own people? What Alfred doesn't know is that Cedric has just discovered a loophole in the system. The gold coins he threw down are worth far more than the entire farmland. The farmers would be grateful if anything. Why would they hate him? However, the third quest still gives Cedric a headache. He can't seriously beat up an innocent person, right? Just as he's pondering how to complete the quest, shouts of someone selling demi-human slaves suddenly echo through the street. Looking at the group of curvaceous female demi-humans beside the trader, Cedric grins. A bold idea suddenly forms in his mind. He immediately orders his men to arrest the slave trader and give him a thorough beating. Steward Alfred announces to the citizens that Lord Cedric has just issued a new decree: humans and demi-humans must coexist peacefully. The moment those words are spoken, everyone's attitude instantly shifts in Cedric's favor. Inside, Cedric is absolutely thrilled. He never expected Alfred to be this sharp, helping him gain both reputation and profit in one move. And as a bonus, he ends up with an entire group of beastkin girls. Looks like tonight is bound to be a sleepless one. But before that, there's something far more important to take care of. That is the system's promised critical reward. After completing all 3 quests, Cedric finally unlocks his first system lottery draw. Ding! Congratulations, host. You've obtained fine armor, dragon-breaking plate armor. Ding! Due to completing all 3 quests, you've triggered a triple critical reward. Reward upgraded to hero tier armor, triumphant paladin plate. Hero tier equipment is incredibly rare in the game. Cedric can't wait to put it on and immediately wants to test it out. Arriving at the training grounds, Cedric finds Alfred and proposes a sparring match. As an Earth Knight, Alfred's strength is nothing to scoff at. But after a few rounds, he discovers with surprise that his young master, who couldn't beat him before, can now fight him to a draw. The 2 spar from day until nightfall. When the sparring ends, Alfred immediately flatters him, "Master Cedric, with your armor combined with battle aura, your defense is absolutely top tier. I'm honestly jealous." This flattery is music to Cedric's ears. At this moment, he can almost see a whole group of beastkin girls praising him. But before the sweet dream can begin, Cedric jolts awake from his bed. And at that moment, the system sends a notification: attention, players are about to descend upon Dawn Town. Seeing this, Cedric remembers that the game he'd been transported into was called Kane Continent. In the original storyline, the flame dragon invaded and killed the goddess of the wilds. This caused the demi-human race she protected to become enslaved. However, when the goddess of the wilds was killed, she used her last strength to send her divine fragment to this continent, and it was delivered by a man in black to the protagonist Aiden. Through this fragment, Aiden summoned players to this world. Thinking about this, Cedric suddenly realizes he was also summoned here, but he has no idea which god summoned him. All he can do is survive. Tomorrow the players will arrive, and according to the plot, they'll unite to attack him, so he must prepare in advance. With this thought, Cedric immediately rushes to Dawntown, but as soon as he arrives, he hears shouting and cursing from an alley. Turning to look, he sees a group of human children tormenting a young beastkin girl. Yet Aiden, the so-called righteous protagonist of the game, witnesses the scene and chooses to look the other way. Nearby, the female lead Seraphina steps forward, intending to help, but Aiden immediately stops her. He says doing so will expose their position and warns her whether she wants to save just this one girl or all the demi-humans in town. Hearing this, Seraphina hesitates, and at that moment, Cedric's furious roar interrupts the brat's cruelty. He grabs one of the kids on the spot and starts spanking him hard. "You haven't even grown any hair yet and you're already bullying others? Got nothing better to do? All of you, go enlist in the army." In the crowd, Seraphina's expression turns complicated. She wants to step forward and thank Cedric, but in the end, she's dragged away by Aiden. They brush past Cedric, who is carrying the injured beastkin girl away to treat her wounds. Ding! Important player detected nearby. System temporary upgrade successful. Cedric is instantly delighted. Opening the system panel, he discovers he's unlocked a new visualization feature. He can now directly view anyone's information at a glance. At the same time, the Chain of Destiny acquisition feature is unlocked. Each time he avoids a guaranteed death scenario, he gains one Chain of Destiny. When the chains reach 6, he can seal the Child of Destiny Aiden and kill him. Seeing this, Cedric's eyes light up with excitement. But before he can celebrate, the system sends another notification as the Child of Destiny, Aiden cannot be actively attacked by the host. Doing so will expose your identity and trigger a worldline collapse. However, there are no restrictions on other players. The host can slaughter them freely. After reading this, Cedric falls into thought. According to the original plot, Seraphina and Aiden will soon summon a group of players. With the players' help, they'll rescue the demi-humans in town and seize control of Dawntown, using it as a foothold on the border. Seriously? Pulling this kind of move right under the villain's nose? Cedric can't touch the protagonist, but he can kill the players. Next, he heads straight to the mayor's residence. Guard Godric, upon seeing Cedric's golden lion crest, immediately kneels down respectfully. Cedric remembers that in the game, Godric was talented. Though he only had 2 skills, he managed to create combo techniques with them. According to the original plot, he was killed by players in Dawntown. Looking at his stats, Cedric now has an idea. He orders Godric to bring out the mayor, but Godric hesitates, stammering that the mayor is busy with business. Knowing exactly how every NPC truly behaves, Cedric immediately loses patience. What business could that fat mayor possibly have? I'll go see for myself. Sure enough, the moment he kicks the door open, Cedric finds the mayor surrounded by beautiful women. Hearing someone kick the door, he instinctively points at the entrance and curses loudly. But when he recognizes Cedric, his expression changes instantly. Fawning, he says, "Young master, I've been waiting so long for you." Looking at his stats, Cedric is speechless. This trash is qualified to be Dawntown's boss? No wonder players could conquer this place. He points at the mayor's nose and curses, "You stupid pig, demi-humans have infiltrated your own house and you don't even know it. You shouldn't be mayor anymore." With that, he walks outside and announces he's demoting him to captain of the guard. Meanwhile, the former Captain Godric is brought to Cedric's side as a personal guard. This infuriates the mayor. "Damn brat, is this because I didn't send you gifts? You like demi-humans? Fine, I'll send you 100 of them." He immediately orders his subordinates to find several beautiful beastkin girls and deliver them to Cedric. As long as Cedric is pleased, he believes he can reclaim his position. Meanwhile, after bringing the young girl back to his room, Cedric can't help but want to reach out and pat her head several times, but he's caught by the girl when she wakes up. The little girl is startled. She immediately gets down from the bed and kneels before Cedric. "I'm sorry, my lord. I didn't mean to dirty your sheets. Please don't kill Lori." Cedric sighs helplessly. Is he really that terrifying? He tells Lori not to be nervous, since he was the one who saved her. He then prepares an entire table of delicious food for her. After not eating for 2.5 days, Lori starts devouring everything in sight. At that moment, the system sends a warning. Detected that host's behavior doesn't conform to villain standards. Please stop immediately or face punishment. Seeing this, Cedric isn't worried at all. System buddy, although I saved this demi-human girl, I'm training her to be my pawn so she can betray the players and protagonist at critical moments. Even a dog would shake its head at this explanation. But surprisingly, the system judges it completely reasonable. Not only that, it gives Cedric 3 new quests, leaves psychological trauma on 10 or more players, force Lori to warm his bed, and humiliate the protagonist Aiden. Seeing this, Cedric completely loses it. Lori's so young and you want her to warm the bed? Damn system, are you even human? Seeing Cedric angry, Lori thinks her eating manners are too ugly. She quickly pulls out the half-eaten chicken leg. "Noble lord, I'm not hungry, you eat it." Cedric is speechless. Such a thoughtful little girl, and the system wants her to warm his bed. Still, as a villain, he should act like one. "Lori, didn't you say you wanted to repay me? I happen to need a personal maid. From today on, you'll stay with me." To curry favor with Cedric, the mayor specifically buys him several beautiful beastkin girls. Unfortunately, he runs into Aiden and his group, who come to rescue the demi-humans. Hearing the sounds of fighting outside, Cedric walks out. His overwhelming presence immediately stuns all the players. As the villain lord in the game, Cedric is a level 44 powerhouse, and Dawntown is just a starter village. The players place their hopes on the protagonist Aiden, but Aiden is only level 11 at the moment. For the sake of face, Aiden can only step forward and shout at Cedric. Cedric doesn't bother humoring him. He directly summons his martial soul avatar to viciously strike Aiden down. The golden lion suddenly swipes with its massive claw. The players who came to assist Aiden are completely stunned. If Aiden didn't have protagonist plot armor, that hit would have sent him straight back to respawn. Looking at the massive crater in the ground, Cedric Cedric is quite satisfied. But at that moment, Aiden actually starts laughing. "So you're the Eagle Lord who enslaves demi-humans for your pleasure. Prepare to face justice." Cedric is dumbfounded. "When did I enslave demi-humans?" But before he can react, a powerful aura erupts from Aiden's body. Even his level temporarily surges to 45. Looks like the system forcibly gave him a power boost. But Cedric isn't helpless either. Just as he's about to engage in battle, the system suddenly sends a warning, telling him not to make any dangerous moves and to immediately cease any attack on the Child of Destiny. With hesitation, Cedric is knocked back several meters by Aiden, making Aiden look incredibly cool. The players erupt in cheers. The protagonist is insane. Looking at the excited crowd, Cedric just smiles. "If not for that damn system, I'd have finished you off already. You really think I'm helpless?" At this moment, Aiden charges again. But Cedric is unconcerned. He simply pursues his lips and calls out Alfred. "Don't let Alfred's skinny build fool you. He's a level 49 Earth Knight." After being intercepted, Aiden is completely stunned. "This is your Knight's code? You said it'd be one-on-one, but you called for backup? What a disgrace." Cedric looks at Aiden mockingly. "I'm a Lord first, Knight second. What are you that I need to personally deal with you?" With that, Cedric directs Alfred to beat him up again. Now Aiden isn't so confident anymore. In just a few moves, he's lying on the ground coughing up blood. Cedric steps on his chest, grabs his collar, and delivers a series of slaps. Before long, Aiden's face is swollen like a pig's head. "I'm in a good mood today, so I'll spare your miserable life." With that, Cedric leaves with Alfred, leaving a group of bewildered players standing there in shock. Soon, Cedric brings Laurie back to the Lord's manor. But before he can show Laurie around the Grand Castle, a maid suddenly rushes out from around the corner and pulls Cedric into her embrace. "My little Master Cedric, I haven't seen you in so long, and you've grown so much!" It's Mrs. Chris, who was Cedric's childhood nanny. Hearing he'd become a lord, she came specifically to take care of him. Struggling free from her embrace, Cedric feels dizzy. He's not a nursing baby anymore, such enthusiasm is unnecessary. Then he introduces Laurie to Mrs. Chris, saying that from now on she'll be his personal maid and he hopes Mrs. Chris can guide her. The experienced Mrs. Chris immediately understands what her young master means. She crouches down, touches Laurie's cheek, and says she'll definitely train her well. Meanwhile, news of Cedric beating up Aiden spreads, and some even speculate that Aiden is Cedric's illegitimate son. This infuriates Aiden. 10 years of grinding monsters and no one cares, but one day as someone's son, and everyone knows. Eagle Lord, I, Aiden, will tear you to pieces. Just you wait. After settling Laurie in, Cedric has his subordinates find a priest in the city to examine her. Unexpectedly, the church priest refuses to come perform healing. He even insults the demi-humans, claiming they're worse than dogs. Hearing this, Cedric's expression darkens. "A mere priest dares defy my orders? Looks like the church doesn't take me seriously." He slams the table and tells his men to quickly get Alfred. He's going to surround the church. Leaving the room, Cedric runs into Laurie, who has just finished bathing. Her adorable appearance instantly stirs a burning desire in Cedric's lower abdomen, truly worthy of Mrs. Chris, who raised him since childhood. She knows his taste perfectly. After briefly asking about Laurie's condition, Cedric casually pulls out a bottle of water of life and tells her to drink it obediently. After he leaves, Mrs. Chris leans close to Laurie's ear and whispers, "It seems the young master really likes you, little Laurie." Laurie's face turns completely red. "How is that possible? Mrs. Chris, please don't joke around." "I'm not joking at all. The water of life in your hand comes from the spring of life in the Elven Court. It's the only thing on Kane continent with healing properties and is extremely precious. My 13th husband used it to propose to me, and that's why I agreed." Laurie is shocked. "Madam, you truly are experienced. It seems I need to serve the young master well." Meanwhile, Cedric and his men have already surrounded the church. Bishop Malden arrogantly tells Cedric not to be insolent. Cedric laughs. A level 38 old geezer dares to be so arrogant? But at that moment, a dark shadow flashes by, directly striking down Cedric's family crest. Looking closely, it's a Templar Knight. This is a secret force in the Holy Church's hands, mysterious and powerful. No wonder that old man is so bold, he has backing. But Cedric isn't easy to deal with either. Openly defying the Lord's orders and insulting him are capital offenses. Cedric draws his longsword. He has Alfred hold off the Templar Knight while he'll kill everyone in the church. Not one will be spared. Wrapped in golden battle aura, Cedric charges straight at the old geezer. The Templar Knight is about to make a move, but Alfred flashes in front of him. With no one in the way, Cedric's sword strike severely wounds Malden. But even at death's door, Malden is still stubborn. He keeps insisting his lord won't let Cedric go. Cedric is speechless. "Your lord this, your lord that. Why don't you have your lord come save you now?" As soon as he finishes speaking, Malden suddenly grabs Cedric's sword and plunges it into his own chest. While muttering incantations, Cedric feels bloody energy radiating from his body. Cedric's heart sinks. Damn it, did he actually summon something? The next second, the old man transforms into a cloud of blood mist that shoots into the sky. The oppressive red energy envelops Cedric, leaving him unable to move. Accompanied by a dragon's roar, Cedric feels something is wrong. Oh no, this is actually the will of Balda, the flame dragon god of war and flames. The powerful pressure leaves Cedric completely immobilized. He wants Alfred to help him, but Alfred is losing his battle with the Templar Knight and can't break free. Just as Cedric falls into despair, a refreshing presence suddenly descends upon him, not only neutralizing the flame dragon's burning, but also healing his wounds. wounds. Cedric immediately feels relieved. So I have a god watching over me too. Meanwhile, Alfred has been defeated. Through the system panel, Cedric discovers that this Templar Knight was modified and feels no pain. And even more twisted, he can use a berserk skill to transform into a werewolf. Seeing this, Alfred panics, but Cedric notices that the berserk is only a temporary skill. Once time runs out, they can win. Cedric and Alfred both charge at the werewolf. The moment they engage, Cedric activates a golden shield. Facing their pincer attack, the werewolf knows the longer this drags on, the more life force he'll burn through. With a furious roar, using both hands and feet, he shreds Cedric's shield with one claw, while his hind leg kicks Alfred flying. Turning to Cedric, the werewolf grabs his neck and lifts him up. I was going to hand you over to His Holiness the Pope, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to devour you. Cedric's face is expressionless. His fist secretly charges with power. Then he delivers a devastating charge punch to the werewolf's face. Eat this. The werewolf is stunned. Before he can react, Cedric stomps him to the ground. You thought you just broke my shield? Actually, that was a barrier slowing time's flow. You broke it yourself, so don't blame me. With that, Cedric swings his sword and instantly beheads the werewolf. Having finished the battle, Cedric is about to breathe a sigh of relief when he suddenly remembers Alfred is still buried in the rubble, so he quickly has people pull him out and orders soldiers to find a priest to heal him. But his subordinate points at a pile of headless corpses, saying there are no priests left in the city, they just killed them all on the young master's orders. Hearing this, Cedric's face turns dark. He can only reluctantly have his men fetch a bottle of water of life from his study for Alfred. Then he directs everyone to enter the church and take all the valuables. They don't even spare the bishop's coffin. But just as everyone finishes cleaning up and is about to leave, a soldier suddenly runs over in a panic. My lord, we found a basement over there. The situation inside is complicated. You need to see this for yourself. Cedric looks puzzled, following him to the basement. As soon as he opens the door, he smells a foul stench. Looking closely, there are countless demi-human corpses scattered throughout the basement, their clothing disheveled. This scene makes even the soldiers who came along feel sick. At that moment, Cedric notices a letter on the table. Opening it, it turns out to be a letter Malden hadn't had time to send. Based on the contents, the birth of Templar Knights seems to come from some mysterious blood ritual, and the blood of demi-human maidens is a necessary component of this ritual. Cedric feels there must be a hidden hand manipulating everything behind the scenes. He knows this is a deep rabbit hole he can't handle yet, so he decides to go home and sleep first. But upon returning to his room, he sees a large lump under the bed covers. Thinking it's an assassin, Cedric yanks off the sheets. He finds Lori with hazy eyes and an unidentifiable liquid at the corner of her mouth. My lord, you're back. Lori is here to warm your bed. Mrs. Chris truly is a woman who'd had 13 husbands. In just one day, she's transformed an innocent girl into a seductive temptress. As the villain, Cedric actually feels a bit embarrassed. He nervously sits on the edge of the bed and has Lori massage his shoulders. Lori obediently places her hands on Cedric's shoulders, but at that moment, Cedric notices something seems to be in her tail. He grabs it and shakes it. The next second, pretty little trinkets that girls like scatter out. These are all little treasures Lori has collected. Seeing her look afraid they'll be taken away, Cedric thinks she's absolutely adorable. Then he ties a large bow on her tail. From now on, just hide your treasures here. Lori shyly throws herself into Cedric's arms. Thank you, master. It's late. Let me serve you to sleep. Hearing this, Cedric feels something is about to explode in his pants. He quickly changes the subject, asking Lori how old she is. Lori says that although she's small, she's 18, and even by demi-human standards, she's an adult. Hearing this, Cedric's eyes blaze. He didn't expect her to be legal. Just as he's about to mount his horse and charge, a system warning suddenly rings in his ears. Detected host's testosterone and heart rate spiking, predicting host is about to engage in reproductive behavior. Warning, Lori's constitution is extremely weak. Forcing reproductive behavior will cause irreversible damage. Please improve Lori's constitution before continuing reproductive behavior. Damn it, I already took my pants off and you're telling me this? Cedric feels terrible. Seeing her master lying there lifeless, Lori panics and keeps pushing him, saying she hasn't finished warming the bed. Mrs. Chris also said you should put me on top. Cedric covers his face, not daring to listen anymore. Stop talking. Just staying with me like this is enough for warming the bed. And so Cedric doesn't sleep all night. Fortunately, the system judges he's completed the daily quest. After the lottery draw, Cedric receives 10 Minotaur warriors. Although he doesn't trigger the critical reward, Cedric is very satisfied with these warriors. Just as he's admiring these loyal warriors, Lori suddenly knocks and enters. But as soon as she opens the door, she sees a massive Minotaur's thick appendage between its legs. She instantly faints in shock. The Minotaur warrior keeps apologizing to Cedric, who is also helpless. He just tells them to wear clothes before going out in the future, or they'll scare people. Then he has the Minotaur warriors familiarize themselves with the castle first. He goes to take care of Lori alone. After some time, little Lori opens her eyes and starts babbling incoherently about monsters in the house. Master, there are 3-legged monsters in the castle. Lori only reaches their knees. We need to run. If they catch up, throw Lori to them and you escape, master. Hearing Lori's words, Cedric feels both touched and amused. He suddenly scoops Lori up. I don't know if there are monsters in the castle, but right now I'm the monster and I'm going to devour you. Lori responds with a mosquito-like voice and actively leans her head into Cedric's embrace. But just when everything is about to fall into place, Godric suddenly bursts in. My lord, there's an urgent letter for you. Hearing the voice, Lori panics and says, Master, if you have business, I'll take my leave. Cedric glares at Godric with blazing eyes. The soldiers have been working hard lately. You go wash their underwear and socks for a month. Godric is in such a hurry because the neighboring territory is being attacked by orcs and hopes for their assistance. presence. Blackwater territory is below Eagle's domain, serving as a barrier against the orcs. Cedric understands well that when the nest is destroyed, no egg remains intact, so assistance is certain, but extortion is inevitable. Lost in thought, the system sends 3 villain quests. Quest 1, steal any maid stockings from the castle. Quest 2, extort supplies worth over 10,000 gold coins from the neighboring territory. Quest 3, harass the demi-human saintess. But stealing stockings is so perverted that even Cedric the pervert feels perverted. While Lori is bathing, Cedric stealthily sneaks into the bathroom, but he's just grabbed the stockings when she discovers him. Startled, Lori shouts for help. Hearing the commotion, Godric rushes up with men. Cedric is already cursing in his mind. In this critical moment, he quickly uses a bath towel to block Lori's view. By the time Godric arrives, he only sees the Lord holding the frightened Lori and softly comforting her. Don't be afraid, the pervert has been driven away. And Godric, as captain of the guard, you let a pervert into the house. The 1-month underwear washing punishment was too light. Now go wash them for 3 months. Godric looks helpless and can only weakly say he has no objections. After everyone leaves, Cedric breathes a sigh of relief. Good thing I was clever just now, or my reputation would have been ruined. But sharp-eyed Lori has already seen through his disguise. However, she isn't angry. Instead, she presses close to Cedric's ear and breathes hotly, "Actually, master, you don't need to sneak around. Whatever you like, Lori can give you." Seeing the little girl's increasingly perverted gaze, Cedric panics. "Don't talk nonsense, Lori, let me explain." Meanwhile, the Lord of Blackwater territory receives Cedric's extortion letter. 10,000 gold coins, 500 suits of armor, plus food for soldiers. The Blackwater Lord is about to explode. If he really had these things, would he need to ask for reinforcements? However, his subordinate has a cunning plan to dodge this bill. The next day, having gotten everything he wanted, Cedric sets out with his soldiers. But their destination isn't Blackwater territory, but Dawntown nearby. Since he left with his troops last time, this place has become the player's stronghold. Many newbies are idling here to gain experience. But while they're playing cards and bragging, Cedric's large force has arrived at the city gates. The protagonist Aiden and Seraphina learn of this and are shocked. They immediately want to rush out and fight Cedric to the death. But the players quickly notice something's off. Cedric and his soldiers are marked as neutral. This means he's not here to seize Dawntown. Cedric gets straight to the point and says he needs to talk with the Saintess. They head to the meeting room, but what Seraphina doesn't expect is that Cedric actually wants the players to serve as cannon fodder in this beast war. Hearing this, she's immediately unhappy, but Cedric isn't asking for her opinion. He leans forward, pinning the Saintess against the wall. With utter dominance, he states that if she refuses, he'll immediately attack Dawntown and drive out all the beastkin. The Saintess trembles under his pressure. "I just want a small home. Why is something so simple so hard to achieve?" Cedric shakes his head dismissively. "You're adorably naive. Your beastkin nation has already fallen. I have no obligation to hand you a town. However, if you submit to me, not only will I spare the players from being cannon fodder, I can even give Dawntown to you. How about it?" Ding. Quest complete. Harass the beastkin Saintess. Meanwhile, Aiden, feeling utterly betrayed, rushes forward. Cedric lets out a cold snort. He delivers a vicious backhand slap. "What makes a nobody like you think you can stand equal to me?" After the slap, Cedric calmly pulls out a silk stocking to wipe his hands. "I'm giving you 10 minutes. Refuse and I'll raise Dawntown to the ground." With that, Cedric tosses the stocking aside and walks away. Staring at the white stocking on the ground, the players are all shaken. This Lord Boss is seriously twisted. Cedric never expected that the moment he steps out of the meeting room, players would already approach him, saying they're willing to pledge loyalty to him. But the condition is that he must swear to the gods to hand Dawntown over to the Saintess to manage. Cedric is amused. He's famously shameless, yet here are players trying to bind him with oaths. But an oath is just an oath. He's not losing anything anyway. However, when Seraphina learns the players are willing to be cannon fodder for her sake, she immediately objects. But the players insist they're doing this willingly. And since they can respawn, they don't fear death. But the protagonist Aiden isn't happy. Although players can respawn, they'll be significantly weakened afterward, what's commonly called losing levels. Yet after hearing Aiden's words, the players don't appreciate it. They flip him off instead. Damn, easy for him to say, the idiot protagonist. If it weren't for the Saintess, we'd have joined the villain already. Seeing the situation settled, Cedric lets himself go completely. He lifts the Saintess's chin and assures her not to worry. He'll definitely return victorious with his troops. At the same time, the players receive a quest from Cedric. Seeing this, Cedric grins. Didn't expect this damn system to actually be useful. He then orders the full army to march. Soon, Cedric leads his soldiers to Blackwater territory. After gathering intelligence from the Lord of Blackwater, Cedric immediately takes his men to the most suspicious location, Ironstone Village. Just as he suspected, the main force of the beast army is hiding in this village. Indeed, while the beasts are numerous, those goblin vanguards are just fragile cannon fodder. The real threat is the over 1,000 beast infantry and about 60 wolf cavalry hidden in this village. At this moment, a beastman suddenly appears across the river, shouting gibberish at Cedric. Cedric is utterly confused. When the Lord of Blackwater's subordinate is about to translate, Cedric waves him off. No need. He then picks up a nearby bow and shoots an arrow straight at the beastman. Before the beastman can react, the arrow pierces his skull. This action is undoubtedly a declaration of war. The beast forces immediately rally and charge toward the human troops. The Lord of Blackwater panics, but Cedric calmly commands the archers to fire. Combined with the support magic from the mage corps, the arrows explode among the beasts like missiles, but due to their sheer numbers, the frontline charge consists only of low-tier goblins goblins. When the powerful beast soldiers appear, the player's side immediately struggles to hold the line. Seeing this, Cedric directly requisitions all the knights from the Lord of Blackwater. He then activates his Radiant Barrier skill, stacking buffs on all the knights. With Cedric's command, he charges ahead, leading the assault. He quickly fights his way to the beast leader. Seeing the ferocious appearance, Cedric expects a tough opponent, but to his surprise, a single swing of his sword sends the leader flying. I thought beastmen would be formidable. Turns out there's no challenge at all. But just then, the beastman suddenly shows a sinister smile. He then pulls out a white flute from his chest. Cedric's expression changes drastically. This bastard is trying to summon reinforcements. He rushes forward to stop him, but it's too late. With a thunderous roar, a massive behemoth descends onto the center of the battlefield. The beast leader has summoned the enormous behemoth. The players immediately fall into a disadvantage. Fortunately, Cedric still has 10 Minotaur warriors under his command. Though their size is less than 1/10 of the behemoth's, the Minotaurs possess extraordinary strength. Before long, the behemoth is taken down, and the human side naturally achieves victory. In an instant, Cedric becomes a great hero in everyone's eyes. But the Lord of Blackwater starts scheming at this moment. He falsely claims he's short on funds and hopes to pay Cedric's reward in installments. Cedric agrees without much thought, but who would have thought that the Lord then goes to the imprisoned beast leader and produces an earthquake scroll that only beastmen can activate. He proposes they work together to eliminate Cedric. The beastman readily agrees. After all, they share a common enemy. However, the moment Cedric sees the Lord of Blackwater's plot, he doesn't get angry. Instead, he smiles. The Lord of Blackwater is confused, but before he can figure it out, his own guard slits his throat from behind. Turns out, this guard was a spy Cedric's father had planted years ago. Who would have thought he'd clawed his way up to become a personal guard? Unfortunately, after this incident, this sleeper agent is completely exposed. Thinking about how his old man has treated him decently, Cedric decides to repay him with a big gift. So he tells Alan about the Templar Knights using Beastkin Maiden's blood for sacrifices. Hearing this, Alan says he must return to the kingdom immediately. After seeing Alan off, Cedric thoroughly ransacks the Lord of Blackwater's treasury. Several cartloads of gold parade through the streets. The players are green with envy. Meanwhile, Cedric also receives the system's reward, Primal Essence. It can awaken the bloodline power in pure natural beings, and Cedric's horse happens to be a pure being. This trip has been incredibly rewarding for Cedric. Returning to Dawntown, according to their agreement, Cedric is to transfer the town to the Saintess. He places his hand on the parchment. The next second, a phantom appears behind him. Cedric is astonished. This is actually the blessing of the goddess of order. Didn't expect them to go all out like this. Looks like I really have to give them Dawntown. But at this moment, the Saintess across the table suddenly feels her heart racing and her body heating up. Why does the Lord of Eagle's domain have such a comforting aura? Oh no, I can't hold back. The Saintess unconsciously sways her tail, and the next second, she lunges into Cedric's arms. Seeing the Saintess acting like she's in heat, everyone is stunned. They quickly rush forward to pull her away. Coming to her senses, the Saintess's face turns crimson. How could I have such indecent thoughts? Just being near him activates the primal breeding instinct within animals. The Saintess feels deeply ashamed. She never imagined this was all due to primal essence within Cedric. After reviewing the agreement and finding no issues, the Saintess signs her name. The next second, the goddess's phantom appears above them. Under the goddess's witness, the Saintess becomes the mayor of Dawntown. Everyone thinks this is a happy ending, but Cedric suddenly changes his tone, reminding the Saintess not to forget her mayoral duty to pay taxes to him. The Saintess is shocked. Didn't you give Dawntown to me? Why do I still have to pay taxes? Cedric grins slyly. I did give it to you, but don't forget Dawntown is a vassal territory of my domain. As mayor, you naturally have obligations. Realizing the truth, the Saintess bursts into tears on the spot, and the players behind her curse Cedric for being shameless. Seeing this, Aiden voluntarily steps forward. He knows his moment to show off has arrived. He shouts that he wants a fair duel with Cedric. Cedric initially doesn't want to bother with his futile roar, but unexpectedly, the system sends him 3 quests: defeat Aiden in single combat, make the Beastkin Saintess cry, and forcibly kiss her. Cedric is amused. This really pours fuel on the fire for the protagonist group. It's a bit twisted, but I love it. With a wicked grin, Cedric points at the Saintess. I accept your duel, but if you lose, you hand her over to me. Hearing this, Aiden panics, his face twisting as he stands protectively in front of the Saintess. Absolutely not. Seeing this, Cedric lowers his terms. Fine, just give me 5 minutes with her. But Aiden still refuses. Are you kidding? 5 minutes is enough for me 8 times. Absolutely not. Seeing Aiden reveal his shortcomings, the Saintess gently touches his arm and says softly, Aiden, just agree, I believe you can win. Since even the Saintess says so, Aiden can only grit his teeth and agree. Soon the two arrive at the dueling grounds. Although Aiden is the protagonist, his strength truly pales in comparison to Cedric's, and Cedric fights dirty, targeting only his lower body with each attack, just when Cedric thinks he can easily dominate. Who would expect Aiden to pull a sneaky move with a dagger? Though Cedric dodges. He accidentally inhales the poisonous gas emanating from the blade. Right now, Cedric's legs are weak and his entire body lacks strength. Seeing this, Aiden activates his berserk mode and unleashes his strongest technique. At this critical moment, Cedric suddenly recalls memories of practicing swordplay as a child. This flashback causes his battle aura to erupt once more. For a moment, the players can't tell who the real protagonist is. Cedric unleashes his full power with a flame desolation slash. It instantly terrifies the protagonist Aiden. If that sword energy had gone 2.5 centimeters further, he'd be meeting his end right here. Overwhelming fear makes his legs buckle. He drops to his knees. I surrender! Hearing this, the Saintess panics, but before she she can react, Cedric pulls her into his arms. "Little lady, time to honor your promise." Seeing Cedric's lecherous expression, the players immediately object, saying they'll protect the Saintess. Seeing this, Cedric calmly draws his weapon. "You all want to meet your end? I'll grant your wish." Witnessing this, the Saintess frantically clings to Cedric's leg. "Please don't hurt them, I'll agree." "Heh, you said it yourself. Whatever happens next, don't you dare scream." Inside the mayor's mansion in Dawntown, Cedric roughly corners the Saintess against the wall. With a teasing smile, he forcefully grabs both her small hands and raises them high above her head. The Saintess fearfully turns her face away, a blush spreading from her pale neck upward, quickly covering her cheeks and ears. Cedric doesn't waste words with her. Time is limited. He grabs her chin, turns her face toward him, and leans down to forcefully kiss her soft lips. The Saintess struggles, her eyes wide as tears of humiliation stream down her face. Cedric has achieved his goal, but the Saintess feels a wave of despair. She senses an intoxicating aura from Cedric, one that's fiercely breaking down her will and making her want to surrender to it. Just when Cedric feels it's time to leave, the Saintess's eyes suddenly become heated. "You're not allowed to leave." As she speaks, she lunges at a bewildered Cedric. "Hee, that's the scent! I won't let you go!" Cedric uses all his strength to push the Saintess away. "Enough! Kiss me again and I'm charging a fee!" The Saintess stares blankly at Cedric for a long moment before coming to her senses and recalling what just happened. She instantly turns red all over. She curls up, hugging her knees, her beautiful fluffy tail wrapping around herself until only her ears are visible. Seeing this, Cedric doesn't stay to embarrass the girl further and leaves the room without another word. Leaving Dawntown, Cedric is in high spirits because all of today's villain quests are complete. Although he didn't trigger a reward critical hit, Cedric receives something the Kane continent doesn't even have: Catamorphin's Dragon Blood Potion. Just drinking it will greatly enhance his physical constitution. After reading the system description, Cedric drinks a bottle without hesitation. As a burning sensation spreads through his limbs, Cedric feels like he's completely unleashed. At this moment, the system sends a notification that a new function has been unlocked. The host's villain actions will earn villain points, which can be exchanged for items in the shop. The shop updates weekly. Cedric is thrilled. With this cheat in hand, the world is mine. Meanwhile, the utterly betrayed Aiden arrives at the mayor's mansion, wanting to comfort the Saintess. But the moment he enters, he's cursed out and thrown out. Now the players all see it and gossip behind his back that Aiden is useless. Listening to the whispered mockery, Aiden's eyes gradually darken. He hurries back to his room. He pulls out a palm-sized box from the drawer. With uncertainty and suspicion, Aiden opens the box in his hand. Inside lies a strange skull carving. "Lord of Eagle's domain, you forced my hand!" Cedric returns to his territory with his troops. Before even dismounting, he sees Lori and Mrs. Chris in the distance. Turns out during his campaign, Lori has been waiting for him on the walls every day. Hearing this touches Cedric's heart. He gently pinches Lori's cheeks, praising her for being adorable and thoughtful. Then Cedric brings Lori back to his room, but the moment he removes his armor, Lori buries herself in his arms. "Master, I missed you so much." Breathing in Cedric's familiar scent, Lori feels her whole body go limp. A blush slowly creeps from her neck to her face. Seeing the clingy little sprite in his arms, Cedric feels somewhat overwhelmed. He pushes Lori away, saying he hasn't bathed in 3 days and reeks of sweat. But Lori not only doesn't mind, she even looks blissful, saying the master's scent is fragrant and warm. Cedric is momentarily stunned, then guesses this must be the influence of primal essence. To verify his theory, Cedric asks Lori if she's ever heard of beastskin awakening bloodline powers. Lori tilts her head, thinking seriously, a trace of reminiscence and sadness flickering in her eyes. She tells Cedric that as a child, she heard from her father that over a decade ago, beastskin were also a very powerful race. Though they couldn't cultivate battle aura or possess magical talent, they could awaken the power, hidden in their bloodlines by comprehending nature. However, awakening this power requires extremely harsh conditions, not only talent, but also having one's comprehension resonate with the bloodline's power. Some were fortunate enough to awaken water powers beneath waterfalls. Others lived among beast packs daily and comprehended beast powers. In short, beastskin don't know what's hidden in their bloodlines and can only try one by one. After hearing Lori's explanation, Cedric understands. Lori can sense primal essence within him precisely because her talent is exceptional. Cedric is delighted and quickly asks if Lori remembers how to comprehend nature. Seeing Lori nod, Cedric pulls her into his embrace and tells her to close her eyes and focus. The next second, a familiar warmth begins to envelop her, gradually wrapping around her entire being. She seems to see a prairie brimming with life force. Sensing the changes within Lori, Cedric becomes excited. "Looks like this is a healing ability. Does that mean I now have a personal healer?" After completing her comprehension, Lori's body goes limp and she falls into a drowsy sleep. But what leaves Cedric speechless is that even while asleep, this little one is clutching his pants, and he can't pull them free. Cedric doesn't dare use too much force for fear of waking Lori. He can only take off his pants, but at this very moment the door suddenly bursts open. Godric barges in noisily, but the next second his expression freezes. Oh no, he's going to need to wash underwear and socks for a year. Cedric asks Godric what urgent matter brings him here in such a rush, but Godric insists he really does have urgent business. His men have reported discovering an iron mine, but its location is awkward, right on the border between their territory and Bolton territory. Cedric smiles. Does something like this even need reporting? He immediately picks up a pen and circles the iron mine within his territory's boundaries on the map. Go tell the Lord of Bolton that this iron mine is mine. If he disagrees, he can prepare for war. After sending Godric away, Cedric enjoys a wonderful bath. Ever since drinking the dragon blood, he's developed 8-pack abs, and his vitality is has also been enhanced, whether it's capacity, stamina, or sustained performance. He's now reached the level of a Sky Knight. Returning to the bedroom, Cedric finds Lori already awake. He asks with concern if she's feeling better and why she didn't rest longer. Little Lori says she's fine now. Thanks to the master, she awakened her bloodline power. To thank him, she's decided to bear his children. Cedric shudders in shock. Do you even know how to make babies? Of course. Mrs. Chris taught me many things, not just etiquette but also instruments. Mrs. Chris said my small mouth is perfect for playing the flute. A bigger mouth wouldn't have the same feel. Cedric falls silent. If not for that damned system flagging Lori as unfit for breeding, he'd be an absolute beast for holding back now. Cedric pats Lori's head. Lori, your bloodline power hasn't fully awakened yet. You need to rest and recover your energy now. Meanwhile, Bolton territory receives the map Cedric sent. Upon learning that Eagle's domain wants to monopolize the iron mine, everyone in the hall erupts in anger. Lord Bolton looks at the agitated crowd in the hall and nods with satisfaction. This is exactly the effect he wanted. The Bolton family has laid low for so many years. We've finally found a chance to rise. We can't let him ruin it. As far as I know, they only have 2 Earth Knights. So to ensure victory in this war, I've borrowed 3 Earth Knights from the Count with 1/3 of the mine's extraction rights. As he speaks, he raises his hand and pats the young knight standing beside him. A proud smile appears on his face. Son, show them? Lord Bolton's son respectfully nods, then under everyone's curious gaze, a pale cyan battle aura surges skyward. Even his eyes burn with cyan aura flames. When the aura concentration reaches the point of emanating from the eye sockets, this is the mark of an Earth Knight. After a brief silence, the entire hall erupts in enthusiastic cheers. On the other side, after a restless night, Cedric comes to the streets. Just as he's pondering how to earn villain points, the chubby kid whose lollipop was stolen suddenly appears in his line of sight. Cedric is about to approach and tease him, but the kid starts crying. Cedric hurries over to ask. The chubby kid tells him that the pension his father earned dying in battle was stolen by a knight and his mother was beaten for trying to stop it. Hearing this, Cedric pauses. Is your mother beautiful? After going home with the chubby kid, Cedric learns the full story from his severely ill mother. There's always been a group of thugs in the city extorting protection money, backed by a knight, so no one has dared intervene. Hearing this, Cedric's fury instantly flares. So he goes to the tavern and waits for those thugs to show up. Soon, Cedric identifies his targets. After some harsh interrogation, the man reveals his backer, Nightingale. Hearing this, Cedric freezes. A childhood memory surfaces in his mind. It's of a man kneeling on one knee swearing eternal loyalty to him, and that man is the very Nightingale the thug mentioned. Furious, Cedric immediately goes to Gale's house. At this moment, Gale is busy getting it on with 2 women. This makes Cedric, who came to demand answers, even more furious. I don't care if you play with women, but why the hell did you take a fallen soldier's pension? Gale doesn't understand why the Lord is so angry. They're just common lowlifes. Why should they get 10 gold coins after death? I'm a great knight and only earn 3 gold coins a month. Are their lives worth that much? Those lowlifes can even collect 5 silver coins monthly from the treasury. As he speaks, he slaps a woman's breast beside him. My lord, look, if you gave me 10 gold coins, I could live much more comfortably. Hearing this, Cedric is completely disappointed in Gale. Since you want those 10 gold coins so badly, I'll grant your wish today. Soon, everyone in the territory hears the news. The Lord is going to execute someone. But when Gale appears, everyone is stunned. That's a knight. Why execute him? Seeing everyone assembled, Cedric lists Gale's crimes one by one. Disobeying orders, stealing fallen soldiers' pensions, bullying the weak as a knight, inciting thugs to disturb public order. Cedric sternly tells the crowd, in Eagle's domain the dignity of soldiers is inviolable. Anyone who violates this, even a great knight, will be hanged. Hearing this, Gale suddenly laughs maniacally. You'll regret this. Cedric doesn't want to waste words and directly orders his head severed. At the same time, the system sends a notification. Host has executed a great knight who served for years, earned 2,000 villain points. Please continue your efforts to become the strongest villain. Cedric's worldview nearly shatters. What kind of damn system is this? I'm eliminating evil for the people and still earn villain points? The system tells him otherwise, because the people will only be intimidated by his ruthlessness, and his knights will fear his mercilessness. Cedric doesn't believe it and pulls over a soldier to ask his thoughts. The soldier stammers that they all think the Lord shouldn't have executed Gale over a commoner. Even Steward Alfred feels Gale's crime didn't warrant death. Cedric's heart goes cold. He only wanted justice. Why is he seen as a ruthless executioner? Is he destined to be a villain? Cedric is already feeling depressed about executing the knight yesterday, but the perceptive little Lori sees through his troubles and comforts him. Master did nothing wrong. If you can't even defend the dignity and rights of fallen heroes, you don't deserve to be a proper lord. Little Lori's sweetness and adorability bring Cedric much comfort. If it weren't for the damn system saying Lori's constitution is weak, Cedric would probably reward Lori with 100,000 critical hits tonight. The next day, Cedric announces a decision in front of everyone to preemptively strike Bolton territory to seize the iron mine. Old Steward Alfred doesn't understand. We don't have any siege equipment now, and even if we made it on site, there's no time. Cedric smiles slightly. Just leave these matters to me. Turns out he made this decision because he saw siege ladders in the villain shop for only 600 villain points each, and they can be summoned at will. Thus, despite everyone's objections, Cedric formulates the battle plan himself. He and the Minotaur warriors will be the siege vanguard, while others just need to keep Bolton's guards occupied. That very night, Cedric sets out with his troops. Using the ladders, Cedric's forces quickly reach the enemy walls. The sudden attack catches Bolton territory's soldiers completely off guard. Even the defensive cannons are seized by the Minotaurs. Meanwhile, Cedric receives quests from the system: seize the iron mine, plunder the castle, kill Earth Knights. Cedric is amused. Talk about perfect timing. Soon, Cedric and his Minotaurs capture Bolton Castle. Just as he's about to empty the castle's treasures, an iron cage suddenly descends from above, trapping him and the Minotaur warriors. Not only that, the cage's material is so special that even the Minotaurs can't break it open with brute force. At this moment, Lord Bolton walks out mockingly. After hearing his taunts, Cedric understands why he fell into the trap. Turns out executing the Great Knight caused unrest in the army. Someone was dissatisfied with his actions and became a traitor. Meanwhile, the Eagle soldiers tasked with holding off the main force haven't seen their lord emerge. The traitor immediately realizes Cedric is trapped and incites everyone to retreat quickly. But Steward Alfred is filled with loyal courage. He fights his way into the castle alone. Seeing this, Cedric is deeply moved. But unfortunately, Alfred is just one person. In the end, he's overwhelmed by sheer numbers and defeated. But at this moment, the residents of Eagle's domain actually form a militia to come to the rescue. This reignites the fighting spirit of the soldiers who were preparing to retreat. They all fight their way back to the castle to save their lord. At the same time, seeing old Steward Alfred in mortal danger, Cedric simply stops pretending and reveals his hand. I only wanted to raid you as an ordinary person, but all I got was mockery and ridicule. I'm done pretending. I'm a Sky Knight. Seeing this, everyone is dumbfounded. How the hell do we fight this? After repelling the enemy forces, Cedric goes to check on Alfred's injuries. He deeply realizes how important it is to have a healer in the territory. Looks like I need to focus on training Laurie when I get back. After taking Bolton territory, Cedric receives system rewards. This quest reward triggers a critical hit effect. 3 Hellhounds evolve into a Hellfire warrior. Their overwhelming stats and powerful passive skills greatly satisfy Cedric. After introducing the Hellfire warriors to everyone, Cedric stations them in the fountain to guard the castle. But the very night they're placed, a group of assassins arrives at the castle. They're Templar Knights from the Holy Church. They're not here tonight to assassinate Cedric, but to find an old man the church has been hunting for years. Soon, they spot the old man around the castle perimeter. The old man knows their purpose. He immediately takes out his only special potion and swallows it. The next second, his body is enveloped in a crimson glow, and his overall strength surges dramatically. However, the price for this power is burning through his life force. Soon, their battle is discovered by the Hellfire warrior. Meanwhile, Cedric, who's in the middle of getting very comfortable with Laurie, hears the commotion outside. Upon seeing the Templar Knights, Cedric immediately puts on his equipment and joins the battle. After becoming a Sky Knight, these Templar Knights are no match for him anymore. He cuts them all down with ease. At this moment, Cedric also notices the old man. After checking his stats, Cedric discovers this old man is no simple character. He's actually a grand alchemist. Unfortunately, he's now at the end of his rope. After sending off the old man, Cedric feels a pang of regret. But just as he returns to his bedroom, Laurie rushes into his arms. Master, Laurie doesn't want Master to get hurt. Laurie really wanted to go down and protect Master, but I'm afraid of becoming a burden. Looking at the obedient girl in his arms, Cedric gently ruffles her hair and comforts her. Laurie is not a burden. Once you fully awaken, you might even be stronger than Master. Moved to tears, Laurie suddenly emits a strange glow from her body. The next second, she's enveloped by a sphere of light. When the phenomenon fades, the petite and adorable little Laurie has transformed into a grown woman. Cedric is stunned. After viewing Laurie's status panel, he excitedly grabs her hand. Wonderful! Laurie, you've finally awakened. But why did your clothes grow with you? Shouldn't they have burst off? Speaking of which, ever since little Laurie matured, Cedric assigned her to work at the medical clinic. Soon, everyone in the city knows there's a well-endowed healer here. As a sightseeing player, the Glasses Girl immediately comes to check it out after hearing this news. Unexpectedly, she runs right into Cedric. The Glasses Girl immediately asks Cedric for his autograph. Cedric smiles and readily agrees, but the next second, her notebook transforms into a red ribbon. That binds Cedric tightly. Don't struggle. These are stun spores I worked hard to collect. Just answer my question, did you sleep with the Saintess that day? Why has she been running hot and cold since the next day, getting weaker and weaker? Hearing this, Cedric is shocked. Could one kiss have made her lovesick? So he quickly asks the system what happened. The system indicates insufficient information and asks the host to investigate the anomaly site. Seeing this, Cedric breaks free from the restraints and tells the Glasses Girl to take him there immediately. The Glasses Girl is excited. Are you serious? Of course. But before we go, you'd better remember what you just did. After preparing, Cedric also calls Laurie out. The three of them ride the giant bird all the way to Dawntown. Unexpectedly, as soon as they land, Cedric receives a series of system notifications. Anomaly detected in Child of Destiny Aiden. Abnormality detected in Beastkin Saintess. No remedy available. Forcibly initiating Stage 3 plot. Abduct the Beastkin Saintess. Saintess's remaining lifespan 2 hours. Host must execute immediately. Cedric is completely confused. This is the first time he's seen the system act so crazy. But the situation is urgent. He has no time to waste. He directly slaughters all the players blocking his way and quickly finds the ailing Saintess. Sure enough, just as the Glasses Girl said, the Saintess's condition is terrible. Cedric wraps her in a blanket and immediately rides the giant bird back to the castle with her. Laurie tries to heal the Saintess with magic, but the evil aura emanating from within the Saintess repels her. Laurie didn't expect this outcome. It seems her power isn't enough. Now the only way is to enter her dream and save her. And the fastest way to enter the dream realm is for the two of them to physically connect and merge their bodies. Looking at the Saintess lying in bed, writhing continuously, Cedric blushes. It seems he'll have to make a sacrifice. Meanwhile, in the nightmare, the Saintess is surrounded by a group of grotesque figures. The moment her spirit breaks, she feels like she's fallen into the ocean. Countless dark hands keep pulling at her. At this critical moment, a pair of strong hands suddenly grabs her. Looking closely at Cedric riding his giant bird into the dream, this startles the Saintess. "You bastard, what are you doing here?" Cedric grins mischievously. He gives her a sharp smack on her tender rear. "I'm here to have my way with you, of course." The Saintess trembles with anger and jumps directly off the giant bird, but unexpectedly sprains her ankle upon landing. Cedric cheerfully pulls her into his arms. "This is a dream. How can you feel pain?" The Saintess pushes Cedric away in panic. "Then why are you perverted scoundrel, in my dream?" "To save you, of course." The Saintess is at a loss. "But why would you save me?" "No particular reason. I'm afraid if you die, people will say you died of lovesickness, pining for me. I don't want that blame." Cedric's teasing makes the Saintess angry, but before she can hit him, Cedric grabs her hand and runs. "No time to explain. If we don't hurry, you might actually die." The Saintess wants to break free, but somehow this man who loves to tease her gives her an unprecedented sense of security. Before long, they arrive in front of a magnificent cathedral. Cedric tells her this is her point of greatest fear. Once they find the exit, they can escape the nightmare. Sure enough, upon seeing this place, the Saintess's body trembles involuntarily. Images of being beaten in the past flash through her mind. Seeing the Saintess's expression, Cedric is puzzled about what could make her so afraid. But since she's reacting this way, at least they're in the right place. Ignoring the Saintess's protests, he hoists her over his shoulder and runs into the cathedral. This playful action actually reduces the Saintess's fear quite a bit. Before long, they discover a statue. What puzzles the Saintess is that the goddess of the wilds was originally enshrined here. Why has it changed to resemble the previous Saintess? Cedric silently compares the sizes of the two generations of Saintess and can't help but sigh. Each generation is less impressive than the last. Then he pulls the Saintess along to continue searching for the exit. Shortly after they leave, the enshrined Saintess statue reveals a sinister smile, and even its pupils turn blood red. Looking closely, there's a horned skull mark in the statue's crimson eyes, the same mark from the statue Aiden took out of the box. Cedric brings the Saintess to a room. Opening the door, it turns out to be a classroom. Inside is a woman with very strange behavior. Serafina recognizes her as her childhood teacher. Serafina used to be terrified of her. However, upon hearing the woman call her name, she unconsciously walks toward her. Cedric grows anxious, but the woman launches a sudden attack at this moment. Seeing this, Cedric kicks the woman in the abdomen. The woman stops and doesn't attack again, but instead uses her pointer to command the children around her. The children scratch at their desks with their fingernails, while emitting piercing screams. The mentally polluting sound assaults Cedric's ears. It also awakens the unconscious Saintess. Taking in her surroundings, the Saintess tells Cedric this is a memory from her childhood orphanage, and Ms. Mary has a weakness. Poor eyesight, but excellent hearing. Hearing this, Cedric pulls the Saintess close. After dodging the teacher's sneak attack, he flicks a coin into the distance. Ms. Mary is instantly drawn to the sound, and Cedric seizes this opportunity to escape the classroom. However, they've barely left when they fall into a void. Cedric quickly holds the Saintess and uses his body as a cushion for her. At this point, Cedric understands that each room in this dream represents Serafina's most terrifying memories. They must find the doors and keep moving forward. Just then, a tall figure suddenly appears behind him. Turning to look, Cedric is dumbfounded. "What the hell, isn't this me? But this guy looks kinda dopey and harmless." Cedric notices the doll came up from an underground passage. The two of them follow the passage into the basement. Soon they discover a source of light. At this moment, Cedric suddenly senses a killing intent. Turning to look, he sees the previous generation Saintess slowly approaching them with a whip in hand. The moment Serafina sees her, terrifying memories flash before her eyes, images of the previous Saintess punishing her. In contrast to Serafina's fear, Cedric seems very excited, because this whip-wielding lady is quite thrilling. Just as he's about to tease her, the whip suddenly shoots out like a chain and pierces through his chest. At this moment, Cedric suddenly realizes that in the Saintess's dream, his power is based on her memories of him. So he shouts to Serafina to imagine him as the strongest person she knows. Who would have thought? The next second, he transforms into a pink rabbit. That's right, this pink rabbit was always Serafina's support when she was young. And now, transformed into a rabbit, Cedric's power indeed surges. With one easy punch, he defeats the Saintess before him. His body then begins to dissipate. "Serafina, the rest of the path you must walk alone. Don't let me down." Serafina nods firmly. The nightmare that plagued her for days is finally destroyed at this moment. In reality, she unconsciously leans against Cedric. Meanwhile, the half-demonized Aiden kneels painfully before a man. The man coldly speaks in a hoarse voice. "You disappoint me, Aiden. For temporary power, you secretly traded the Saintess's divinity with the Abyss. Even more pathetic, you managed to lose yourself in the deal. Your foolish actions have disrupted my plans. I'm giving you one last chance. If you remain obstinate, don't blame me for using your body as my new vessel." Meanwhile, in order to have children with her master, Lori actually takes off her maid outfit and changes into black stockings and a nurse uniform. Cedric just wakes up from the Saintess's nightmare and sees Lori holding a syringe. Well, this girl must be jealous. Sure enough, seeing her master awake, Lori hugs Cedric tightly. "Master, Lori has grown up. Lori wants you now." Holy smokes, what man could resist? Cedric's desire nearly explodes. But remembering Lori's physique isn't suitable for reproduction, he sheepishly flees. He's utterly useless. However, on his way back, Cedric discovers a loophole in the system. Turning around, he finds Lori again. But this time, he acts completely out of character and tears Lori's clothes apart. This young master will definitely have a taste today. Cedric's sudden outrageous behavior leaves Lori flustered. But just as she adjusts herself and prepares to give in, Cedric actually stops. It turns out that Cedric's abduction of Seraphina caused the game world to update to Stage 2. Cedric panics. He truly panics. He knows that in Stage 2, 10,000 players will descend. Even if he survives, his castle won't. In his extreme anxiety, he suddenly sees that his villain shop has also been updated, allowing him to exchange for various special units and strategic resources. So he desperately wants to obtain villain points. Through repeated experiments, he discovers that his system has the intelligence of a 3-year-old. As long as he performs outrageous acts, the system doesn't care whether he's acting. That's why he acted as if forcing himself on Lori. Sure enough, just as he thought, the system gave him 5,000 villain points. And so Cedric began his path of exploiting glitches. Little Lori doesn't understand, but as long as her master is happy, she'll satisfy him no matter how perverted. Soon, Cedric farms enough points to purchase new units. After recruiting a group of sacred warriors, Cedric finally has the confidence to fight the players. At this point, the system also sends him a villain mission. Kill 2,000 players, reduce at least 500 players to level 0, and crush Aiden's revenge. Cedric is delighted. What the hell, isn't this just free rewards? But to be safe, he exchanges a Sky Knight breakthrough potion from the shop and gives it to Alfred. Now everything is ready, only the final step remains. Fools, wash your necks and wait for me. After the game enters Stage 2, the quest to subjugate Cedric opens up. Just accepting the quest gives free experience, and completing the subjugation offers 8 different rewards. Moreover, since the number of players exceeds 5,000 in this battle, all attributes receive bonuses, and even death experience penalties are halved. This eliminates all player concerns. Even with Cedric going all out, players still endlessly charge toward the castle walls. Watching these fools like cannon fodder, Cedric feels this can't go on, so he turns his attention to the players' resurrection crystals. At this moment, he also notices Aiden glowing with golden light. Cedric knows he must have increased his power. However, the distance is too great for his status panel to capture him. He has Alfred intercept Aiden, orders the Minotaurs to defend the castle, while he leads the Hellfire Chief and Sacred Warriors to steal the crystals. Soon, player screams echo across the battlefield. At this time, Butler Alfred engages with Aiden. What surprises Aiden is that in just a few days, Alfred broke through to Sky Knight. This gives him trouble. Such pathetic performance makes even his puppet master can't bear to watch, so he directly intervenes, breaking the rules to give him cheats. Cedric, who is slaughtering players, is suddenly entangled by a strange red data stream. Cedric only feels an overwhelming pressure on his body. The next second, all players, including him, receive a notification. Due to excessive level gap, data correction initiated. Player attacks on the Lord of Eagle's domain are now forcibly converted to true damage. Cedric is stunned. At this moment, a mage fires a fireball at him. Normally, at only level 15, he couldn't possibly break through Cedric's battle aura defense, but now Cedric is directly knocked back by the fireball. This greatly boosts the player's confidence. They all charge forward recklessly, although Cedric cuts them down like lambs. The sheer number of players is overwhelming. Soon his health bar drops to critical levels. Watching these bloodthirsty fools, Cedric shouts for Hellfire to quickly destroy the crystals. The next second, a green giant like a nuclear bomb descends from the sky, instantly obliterating a group of oblivious fools. However, against 8,000 warriors, Hellfire's damage is just a drop in the bucket. In an instant, the players charge at Cedric again. Cedric panics a bit. Damn it, is this really the end today? At this critical moment, a green healing energy suddenly descends from the sky, instantly restoring Cedric's health to full. Turning to look, it's little Lori rushing to his aid. Heh, my cheat code has arrived. Let's see how you survive today. With just one heal, she fills his health bar completely. Lori's healing ability is absolutely unmatched among all healers. The players are speechless. What the hell? How can they even play this? What's even more despairing is that Hellfire has already destroyed 2 of the 3 resurrection crystals, and the last one was deliberately left by Cedric to camp their spawn point. Such a despicable villain completely crushes the players' morale. Meanwhile, a voluptuous woman suddenly appears on the castle wall. The veiled woman watches Cedric in the distance with interest. Then she smiles at the man beside her. It's your turn. Remember, the Pope sent us to ensure his death. This mission cannot fail. On the other side, Cedric is showing off his affection while slaughtering players on the battlefield. Just then, the black-clad assassin suddenly strikes. Sharp-eyed Lori spots him immediately. To prevent her master from being hurt, Lori actually blocks the assassin's dagger with her body. Fortunately, she activated her Holy Spirit shield beforehand, preventing critical damage. But this action thoroughly enrages Cedric. He roars furiously. A golden lion phantom charges at the opponent. The assassin's legs go weak with fear, barely dodging the lion's attack. He finds his path blocked by Cedric, who flashed behind him. Just as he's about to meet his end, the mysterious woman suddenly intervenes, firing a small magic spell directly at Cedric's chest. If Lori hadn't healed him in time, Cedric would have fallen to the sneak attack. At this point, the woman also moves from the rear to the front line. Under her command, the assassin attacks Cedric again. However, this time, before Cedric can can act, several sword beams suddenly flash by, instantly killing the assassin. Everyone turns back in shock. The one who struck is the awakened Saintess Seraphina. No time for explanations. The mysterious woman already launches a magic attack at Seraphina. However, the awakened Seraphina's speed has greatly increased. She quickly ascends into the air. At this moment, the mysterious woman is confident, thinking Seraphina is just stalling for time. But who would have thought? The next second, Seraphina flashes behind her and with one sword strike cuts her in half. What a waste of those assets. In the distance, Cedric is dumbfounded. Is this really the Seraphina he knows? How did she become so powerful? However, at this moment, Seraphina acts as if she doesn't recognize Cedric and charges straight at him. Cedric struggles to raise his sword to block, but the moment their blades clash, Seraphina suddenly collapses straight into Cedric's arms. The players explode with rage. The Saintess they fought so hard to protect is now lying in the villain's arms. What's the point of fighting anymore? After the players retreat, Cedric brings Seraphina back to the castle. He has Lori treat her. According to Lori's diagnosis, not only are Seraphina's internal organs severely damaged, but her soul is also torn. Even if healed, she'll need a long time to recover. Hearing this, Cedric feels distressed. Through the system panel, he can see that Seraphina awakened her beastkin bloodline power, which caused this. Her earlier attack on him was because she confused the dream with reality. The female lead bearing such heavy responsibilities truly has it tough. He wonders what's happening with the male lead now. At this moment, Aiden is furiously kicking a resurrection crystal. This time, he lost everything, and his reputation among players has plummeted. And most importantly, his puppet master has decided to abandon him. After such a long recovery period, the mastermind has cracked part of this world's rules. He creates a fake goddess apparition to issue new main quests to the players, to trick players into first subjugating beastkin territories, then returning to subjugate Eagle's domain once strong enough. Meanwhile, at Eagle's domain, Lori obediently kneels on Cedric's lap, awaiting her master's punishment. It turns out Lori's reckless act of shielding Cedric earlier greatly worried him. He scolds Lori for being too rash. To prevent this from happening again, Cedric decides to properly punish her. However, Lori not only doesn't feel punished, but becomes even more excited. Master, Lori wants. Cedric is speechless. It's broad daylight, and I mean just daylight, no day for that kind of night activity. What do you want? But Lori doesn't care. Her breeding instinct makes her pounce directly on her master and immediately bite down. Cedric panics. Instinctively, he grabs Lori's tail. With just a light touch, Lori's body seems to activate like a vibration switch. Her white-stockinged legs thrash wildly. Master, you can't. That's a place only a husband can touch. You must take responsibility for Lori. Hearing this, Cedric becomes even more excited. Oh, really? Then don't blame this young master for being rough. Now, to punish his little maid, Cedric grabs her tail and keeps tickling it. Lori can't take it anymore. Fragrant sweat mixed with drool drips onto her ample bosom. Master, I admit I was wrong. Please stop. Seeing the little maid beg for mercy, Cedric finally stops. At this moment, Lori takes out a 4-leaf clover, saying it's a gift for her master. She hopes he'll become luckier in the future. Touched, Cedric examines it closely and discovers it's made from the bottle of water of life he once gave Lori. Blushing, Lori explains that potion was the first gift her master gave her, so she's kept it all this time. That said, why are you wearing a 3-leaf clover around your neck? Are these matching accessories? Hearing this, Lori blushes deeply. Hee, Lori won't tell you. With that, Lori runs out blushing. Cedric doesn't think much more about it, and instead opens the system panel to claim his villain mission rewards. This time, the reward is a heroic-grade equipment piece, Venus' sacred garment. Although it's limited to female users, it can transform the wearer into any form the host desires. Cedric's mind is instantly flooded with all kinds of beastkin girls, school uniforms, yoga outfits, pencil skirts. He must have Lori try them all. As for Seraphina, she can just go without anything underneath. Thinking of this, Cedric can barely contain himself. Meanwhile, the severely injured and unconscious Seraphina wakes up. However, she still can't distinguish between dream and reality. At this moment, Cedric walks out after bathing. Seraphina is shocked. How can I see the Lord of Eagle's domain even in my dream? And those 8-pack abs are so alluring. After brief consideration, Seraphina decides to go for it. She pounces on Cedric and bites down hard. Cedric's body trembles. He pins Seraphina down in return. Snap out of it. This is reality, not a dream. I don't believe you. All you big liars in my dreams say this is the real world. Cedric is speechless. Fine. You want to play this game? With that, he also bites Seraphina. Seraphina feels like she's been struck by lightning. The sensation coursing through her body instantly brings her to her senses. But remembering her earlier actions, she immediately feels utterly ashamed. Just then, Cedric also receives a system mission notification. Abduct the Saintess follow-up quest triggered. Humiliate the Saintess. Seeing this, Cedric suddenly grins wickedly. Hehehe, damn system, you really get me. With that, he gives a firm squeeze to her soft spot. Seraphina's delicate body trembles, and she reflexively slaps Cedric hard across the face. Just then, a knock suddenly sounds from outside. Master, are you in your room? Lori is coming in. Just as Cedric is about to get intimate with Seraphina, Lori pushes the door open and walks in. Cedric is startled, but turning around, he finds Seraphina has disappeared. However, Lori's keen nose only needs a light sniff to get guess Seraphina was just here. Cedric quickly lies, saying Seraphina couldn't tell reality from dream, so he helped her out. Little does he know, Seraphina's hiding outside the window like a guilty lover, freezing in the cold wind with no escape route. Meanwhile, inside the room, Lori starts acting up. Master, the Venus sacred garment you gave me feels so comfortable. It feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Don't believe me? Look. With that, she transforms, and her maid outfit becomes a black sweater. Lori sticks her rear out as she leans on the table. Master, this sweater has a bare back. Does Lori look good like this? This makes Cedric's eyes go completely straight. He quickly tells Lori to stand properly. Lori sticks out her tongue with a mischievous smile. Master, one day Lori will be as curvy as Mrs. Chris, so you must wait for me. Suppressing his criminal thoughts, Cedric quickly coaxes Lori to sleep. After finishing all this, the overheated Cedric plans to open the window for some cold air to clear his head. Who would have thought? As soon as he peers out, he sees Seraphina nearly frozen like an icicle. What the hell? You haven't been out here all night, have you? At this moment, Seraphina can't care about anything else. She throws herself into Cedric's arms, feeling his body warmth. Seraphina's eyes grow somewhat hazy. Just then, Godric once again barges in on Cedric's moment. Cedric is about to explode with anger. Why is it always you every time I get aroused? It turns out Godric is in such a hurry because a secret envoy has arrived from the royal capital. After receiving him, the envoy Alan reports that the king is dying, and the Pope is plotting to seize the kingdom. The royal capital is already besieged by the Holy Church's army, and within just 1 week, they've somehow killed multiple Sky Knights from the Royal Legion. The king's army is now on the verge of collapse. More importantly, Lord Cedric's half-brother Heatley has already sided with the Holy Church. He's now plotting to attack Eagle's domain to kill Cedric and eliminate future troubles. Hearing this, Cedric falls into thought. Why would so many people covet this godforsaken Eagle's domain? Could it be because of the Beastkin here? At this moment, Alan takes out a letter and hands it to Cedric, saying this is all the intelligence they've gathered in the royal capital, and it's all related to Beastkin. Hearing this, Seraphina becomes agitated. Cedric slowly opens the letter. On it are clearly written the words Paradise Project. It turns out the Paradise Project Cedric sees is the Holy Church's evil plan to capture Beastkin girls. They throw young Beastkin to brutish men for abuse, using this to create the Templar Knights they desire. But due to low conversion rates, they've now escalated their methods. Just then, Cedric suddenly receives a system mission. Host has activated Stage 4 mission, capture Beastkin slaves and implement the Beastkin Slavery Pact. Ding! Saintess Seraphina detected alive. Mission updated. Host only needs to complete capturing Beastkin slaves. This is a death plot. Host, please prepare. Cedric didn't expect the system mission to change because of the Saintess. However, not having to implement the Beastkin Slavery Pact is actually a good thing. But at this critical juncture, having the damn system tell him to capture Beastkin women, wouldn't that make him the great villain of the Beastkin? Originally, he planned to have the Saintess win over the Beastkin to become part of his forces. Now it seems this plan has completely fallen through. Just then, Seraphina suddenly drops to her knees. Lord, please save the Beastkin. If you can save them, I'll do anything for you. Hearing this, Cedric's interest is piqued. Really? Anything? Feeling his fingers roam over her body, Seraphina's pretty face flushes crimson, momentarily at a loss. It's just offering myself, right? For my Beastkin people, I'll do it. Meanwhile, the succubus Sia has also found the protagonist Aiden. Aiden is now very resistant to these demons. After all, last time he was severely screwed over by the abyssal demon. The succubus thrust out her chest, soft and full. Her black stockinged legs cross over each other. Aiden, don't be angry. We're very sincere about this deal. Why not take a look first? Sia smiles seductively. She lightly waves her hand over the table as dark red magical light flickers. A long sword shimmering with demonic light appears on the table. If you agrees to cooperate with us, this sword is yours. And Sia twists her voluptuous body shyly. Even if you wanted Sia, I would agree. Aiden glances at the longsword and casts an identification spell. Betelquin, the Grandmaster Demon Blade. Infused with demonic energy, this blade gains preternatural sharpness, allowing it to cleave through battle aura and magical barriers. It exerts a powerful suppressing effect on light-based blessings. Note, from the moment Battlequin binds to its wielder, it must consume one pure soul every 7 days. Otherwise, it will tear apart the wielder's soul as sustenance. Aiden is intrigued after scanning the demon sword's stats. With no breakthrough attempts left, and only a master-grade fool set to his name, he lacks a weapon that matches his true caliber. The blade is a solid find, and the drawbacks are manageable. As for the souls, he can just harvest those from some random beasts. A fine blade. So, what's your price? Seeing Aiden's interest, Sia turns up the charm, swaying her slender waist. She slides onto his lap and meets his eyes with a seductive smile. It's simple, she purrs. We need you to regularly deliver Beastkin to the abyssal teleportation array. We have uses for them. Without missing a beat, Aiden rests his hands freely on Sia's waist and asks with curiosity, what do you need so many Beastkin for? Since you want to know, I'll tell you. We've discovered that Beastkin carry divine power within them. Capturing them is simply a matter of extraction. Fine, I'm in, but the terms aren't enough. Throw in a pair of horned demon generals. I need more power to strike at the Beastkin tribes. Who could have imagined? The pure, noble Beastkin Saintess, reduced to nothing more than this man's personal maid? It all started when Cedric struck a deal with the Saintess. He would help save the Beastkin, but only if she became his maid, and she had to follow his every order without question. What she never expected was that Cedric's very first order would be to capture Beastkin. She knows Cedric is doing this to keep the Beastkin from falling into the Holy Church's Paradise Project, but watching her own people get dragged away by soldiers, her heart aches all the same. After leaving Dawntown in Seraphina's care, Cedric heads to Greystone City with Lori in tow, the turf of the Crown Prince himself. With the king dead, Cedric, as a lord, has been invited to attend the council on what comes next. The moment they arrive in Greystone City, Cedric is struck by the grandeur of a true metropolis. Mages are everywhere you look, and even the nobles play far wilder games than he does. Beastkin are led around on leashes like pets, strolling the streets as if it's perfectly normal. Soon enough, Cedric comes face to face with the man behind it all. Crown Prince Belfrin presides at the head of the table in the solemn hall of Greystone Castle, casting a sweeping glance over the assembled lords before having his steward announce the state of the kingdom. The king is dead, and the Corlon Empire no longer has a single legendary rank master to its name. Worse still, the Pope is already making his move, hungry to seize the throne and become the Empire's sole ruler. The steward's words land like a club to the skull of every noble in the room. Without a legendary rank master, the Empire loses its power to deter its neighbors. And not just the surrounding human kingdoms eyeing their chance. The Orc Empire won't sit idle either. When the nest collapses, no egg survives. If the Corlon Empire falls to foreign invasion, these lords will be the first ones burned. Just as panic begins to spread through the room, Crown Prince Belfrin cuts through the noise. He points out that while the Pope has been thorough in his preparations, grinding down the capital and draining the Empire's foundation will still take time. And during this time, he has already forged an alliance with a group of outsiders who can revive endlessly. They will help shatter the Holy Church's most numerous and essential forces. Cedric is utterly dumbfounded. Endlessly reviving outsiders? That can only be the players. What are those noobs doing all the way out here? Shouldn't they still be stuck in the starter village? Sure enough, the very next moment, a player faction led by Little Frog marches straight into the hall. Cedric is speechless. The Crown Prince must truly be out of options if he's teaming up with this bunch of deadweights. After the meeting wraps up, Little Frog tracks Cedric down. I've heard that the Lord of Eagle's domain has been capturing Beastkin on a massive scale lately. We want to know why, Cedric scoffs. If I told you I was protecting them, would you believe me? If I told you the Holy Church is running experiments on Beastkin, would you believe that either? Two bombshells in a row leave the players reeling, but Cedric has no interest in wasting time on them. He shoves past and walks out without another word. The moment he gets back to his room, though, an invitation from the Crown Prince arrives. Cedric laughs to himself. Does this guy actually think he's the king already? Well, might as well go see what he's up to. Back in his room, Cedric pulls Lori into a long, passionate kiss. Every other lord came to Greystone City for a meeting, but Cedric came for a very different kind of business. After a wild and passionate night together, the Crown Prince's servant arrives to announce his master is ready to see him. He adds that the maid is welcome to come along. Entering the Crown Prince's chamber, Cedric is genuinely taken aback. An elven girl is down on all fours on the floor, being used as a footrest. The prince grinds his heel into her every now and then, just because he can. Noticing Cedric's curiosity, the Crown Prince explains, this elven girl had once infiltrated the castle alone, assassinating over 80 soldiers and 2 Earth Knights. After being captured, she was merely whipped for a month, otherwise left untouched. Her magic has been sealed. If Cedric is interested, the prince is open to a trade. On top of that, he'll grant one additional request: territory, weapons, troops, anything goes. Cedric swallows his fury and manages a composed smile. My apologies, Your Highness. We all have our preferences, but I do value my maid. Without her around, I'd be quite lost. The Crown Prince raises an eyebrow, though he quickly smooths it over. So the Lord of Eagle's domain has that kind of taste. No matter, the elven slave is still yours to take. Cedric is about to decline gracefully. He has no idea what the prince is really playing at, but Lori is staring at the trembling elven girl with deep, quiet sorrow in her eyes. Something stirs deep in Lori's blood, a fierce, inexplicable grief. The Crown Prince seems to read Lori like a book, and smiles warmly, asking Cedric if perhaps he should consider doing something for his dear little maid. It's plain to see that Cedric's maid desperately wants this elf. Cedric glances at Lori, still lost in her grief, then at the wretched elven girl, and lets out a quiet sigh. Then I'll gratefully accept Your Highness's generous gift. Meanwhile, some beastkin, unable to understand why Cedric has been rounding them up, have begun fleeing toward Duskwinter Town, where the Holy Church holds sway. The place is known as a paradise for beastkin, and is one of the Holy Church's key strongholds for the Paradise Project. But every beastkin who enters is blinded by the illusion of a perfect life, unaware that a far darker scheme is quietly closing in. Cedric ties the elven girl onto his giant bird mount, and plans to head home with Lori first, but barely halfway through the flight, a quest notification pops up. Kill Eve, destroy the beastkin paradise. Leave at least 100 players with lasting psychological trauma. Duskwinter Town has already activated the Paradise Project. A woman named Eve has gathered the beastkin in the town square, preparing to begin a massive ritual sacrifice. Players who realize what's happening scramble to spread the word, but it's already too late. Just as everyone sinks into despair, a giant bird tears across the sky. Cedric drops his sword first, making one hell of an entrance. In the blink of an eye, he tears through the soldiers hunting the beastkin. Players rush forward to thank the Lord of Eagle's domain for his heroism, but Cedric is grinning like a villain. He drives his sword straight through a player's chest. Come on, I came here with a mission. You can't leave traumatized without a little taste of kindness first, can you? At the same time, Eve receives word that the outer perimeter is under attack. She immediately orders her men to awaken the Ice Queen and sends a call for reinforcements to the Pope. On the other side of town, the players are charging forward full of confidence, when a strikingly beautiful woman steps into their path. Her delicate, enchanting look has the noobs completely disarmed in seconds. When she leans in for a kiss, the noob is so far gone he actually kisses back. But the very next second, a woman bursts into mocking laughter. You foolish human, thank you for your energy. Now feel the frozen fury burning within me. That's right, this is none other than the demon-class Ice Queen herself. As a bone-chilling wind howls through, the players are flash-frozen into solid ice statues. At this critical moment, Cedric breaks free of his restraints and charges straight at the Ice Queen, sword leveled. The Ice Queen blocks a few strikes before being knocked to the ground. Realizing she's outmatched, she shifts tactics and tries her seduction technique. Cedric just laughs and drives his sword straight through her without a moment's hesitation. "Sorry, sweetheart. You're a little too cold for my taste. I prefer warmth." With the Ice Queen down, Cedric tracks the final boss. Eve's power far exceeds that of the Ice Queen. Her command of fire effortlessly deflects his every attack. But the worst mistake Eve ever made was waking the Ice Queen. When Cedric cut down the Ice Queen, he claimed the frozen heart from her body, and this very item is the perfect counter to Eve's fire affinity. Eve panics. She activates a magic teleportation scroll without hesitation. "I'll remember you, Lord of Eagle's domain. Wash your neck clean and wait for my master's iron march." With that, she vanishes from Cedric's sight in an instant. The church falls to a single swing of Cedric's sword, but things are far from over. Don't forget, there's still a crowd of thoroughly bewildered players outside, waiting for Cedric to deliver their psychological beating. To complete his villain system mission, Cedric hunts down every player in Duskwinter Town and sends them all crashing back to level 0. And while he's at it, he walks off with all their mounts and gear. Back in Eagle's domain, Cedric discovers that a wave of beastkin has poured into the city while he was away. Seraphina approaches with a troubled look on her face. She tells Cedric that despite her best efforts to explain the Holy Church's scheme, very few beastkin actually believe her. Just then, a splash erupts from the pool behind Cedric. He turns around and finds a group of mermaids. Cedric's eyes light up with excitement. He's genuinely impressed. He never expected Seraphina to be so thoughtful, even arranging something this exotic. But the moment the mermaid girl lays eyes on Cedric, she transforms her tail into legs, bolts out of the pool, and screams at the top of her lungs, "That terrifying guy is back!" Cedric is dumbfounded. He hasn't even done anything to ease the beastkin's fears. He has Seraphina gather them all together. The beastkin are thoroughly confused. Has the Saintess really submitted to the Lord of Eagle's domain? Cedric watches them murmur among themselves, then announces with a broad smile that he has called everyone together for 2 reasons. First, I have a harsh truth to reveal. Second, I'll be testing each of your abilities. Pass the test and you'll have a job here. Fail and you'll still receive a plot of land. Now that's a smooth move, turning every last beastkin into a useful pawn. The Lord of Eagle's domain really knows how to play the game. Cedric tells the crowd he will enact a law to protect the rights and safety of all beastkin, and then calmly reveals that he personally raised Duskwinter Town, but the beastkin couldn't care less about land or laws. They turn on Cedric, blaming him for destroying their paradise. Cedric skips the argument and signals his men to bring forward the beastkin survivors rescued from Duskwinter Town, with testimony from their own kind. The beastkin slowly begin to accept Cedric's words. Satisfied that the situation is under control, Cedric leaves the testing arrangements to Seraphina. And so, with Lori giving him a massage, Cedric begins testing the beastkin one by one. But to avoid it eating into his evening with Lori, Cedric crafts a special crystal orb, one that amplifies the range of his primal essence perception. As Cedric releases his inner aura, the entire square is instantly bathed in golden light. The overwhelming surge of primal essence sends the female beastkin into a wild frenzy. Even the male beastkin can't help but want to get intimate with him. Cedric rolls his eyes in frustration. Seriously, what is wrong with all of them? Not a single awakened one in the entire bunch? Just then, a surge of energy like a volcanic eruption explodes from right behind Cedric. He turns to find it's Nina, the girl he brought back. And she's not the only one. The pool beside them erupts with crashing waves, as the mermaid girl awakens to her bloodline power as well. After a full morning of screening, only 2 out of 800 beastkin have awakened, a hilariously low rate, but both show enormous potential. Cedric asks both girls what they saw during their awakening. Bubble, the mermaid, tells him she saw a vast ocean storm and ships being swallowed by the waves. Cedric thinks it over and decides to station her at the fountain on the 2nd floor balcony for now. When she hears she'll have a job and won't be dragged off in a fishing net, Bubble brightens up immediately. Then Nina steps forward, saying she saw volcanoes, barren wastelands, the ocean floor, and all kinds of stones. Cedric is a little thrown off, so her future abilities are going to involve throwing rocks, squeezing rocks? After some thought, Cedric decides to put Nina in charge of the young beastkin for now, until her abilities become clearer. With those 2 sorted out, Cedric turns to settling the rest of the beastkin. He has his steward Alfred divide up the newly built housing among the beastkin, and arrange 3 days of free meals while everyone gets registered and assigned work according to their skills. Alfred nods. But there is one problem. They're out of money. Cedric groans. Before the beastkin are fully settled, there's no return on the investment. Running a charity is expensive, no 2 ways about it. Then a bolt of inspiration strikes. Wait, if this charity benefits the whole domain, why should the Lord be the only one footing the bill? Cedric orders Alfred to round up every wealthy merchant in the city tomorrow. It's time to do some serious fleecing. After a packed day, Cedric returns to his room ready to finally get some rest. But the moment he steps inside, the elven girl ambushes him. Cedric disarms her in a swift counter move and pins her roughly against the wall. That's strange. I pulled you out of that sadist crown prince's hands. I don't even expect your gratitude, but you repay me with an ambush? Even as he speaks, Cedric activates his inspect skill to check her stats, and what he finds makes his jaw drop. This girl named Islaria is the 2nd princess of the elven royal court. Pinned and furious, Islaria snaps back. You invaded my homeland first. I'll kill every last one of you. Cedric has had enough of being the fall guy for nothing. He jabs a finger at her and snaps. Are you out of your mind? I don't even know where your homeland is, so how exactly did I invade it? For a moment, Islaria can't can't find the words. Then Cedric spots something he missed before: Elven Beacon activated. What in the world is that? The moment she hears Cedric say Elven Beacon, Aslaria goes pale. How do you know about the Elven Beacon? Cedric stops expecting a straight answer from her and asks the villain system directly, what is this beacon? The system explains, it's a magical rune that lets elven royals track each other within a certain range. A living GPS, basically. That sends Cedric over the edge. He could drive his sword through her right now. This girl has been calling for backup behind his back. He asks the system if it can be deactivated. The answer is yes, but the location must be found first. To avoid detection, the Elven Beacon is typically inscribed on the tailbone or the lower abdomen. A sly grin crosses Cedric's face. He wastes no time tearing her clothes aside, and sure enough, right on Islaria's lower abdomen is a glowing red magical rune. Cedric presses it and mutters, so this thing has to be switched off by hand? At that exact moment, Lori walks in carrying a tray of water and freezes. Seeing what Cedric is doing, she spins around to leave. Cedric grabs her arm and scrambles for an explanation. Lori's jealousy is written all over her pouty face. You don't need to explain yourself. Who you choose to spend the night with is entirely your business. Lori is just a maid. It's not my place to say. Cedric laughs awkwardly and insists he's only trying to deactivate the Elven Beacon. Lori walks up to Islaria, not entirely convinced, but Islaria is cunning. She quietly deactivates the beacon herself, then leans in and whispers in Lori's ear that she was only delivering food, and the moment she walked in, Cedric tore her clothes off. Far from getting angry, Lori responds with complete conviction, that is absolutely something my master would never do. Cedric smiles to himself. It seems Islaria needs to be taught a lesson. He pinches Islaria's mouth open and pops a red pill inside. Islaria's eyes go wide with panic. What did you just make me swallow? Poison, of course. Don't believe me. Take a look at your arm. Is it swelling and turning red? Watching Islaria's face crumble into sheer panic, Cedric smiles pleasantly and informs her that from now on, if she ever steps out of line, he'll let the rot consume her whole body from the inside out. Lori looks puzzled. Why is Master being so ruthless? Cedric tells her this woman came from the Crown Prince's side, and there's no telling what she's really here for. Lori admits it is a little strange. When she first touched Islaria back at the castle, fleeting images had flashed through her mind, but since returning from the Crown Prince's chambers, she can no longer remember what they were. Cedric presses a gentle kiss to Lori's forehead and gives her careful instructions. From now on, she stays with you. Have Mrs. Chris tailor a special outfit for her, one that keeps the Elven Beacon exposed at all times. She is only permitted to move around on this floor. Cedric says there's no time to waste. Get it done now. He also tells Lori to bring Seraphina along, since it's getting dark and it isn't safe to go alone. Lori then leads Islaria towards Seraphina's room. Along the way, Islaria asks Lori if she is a Sylvan elf. She can sense the power of nature emanating from her. A Sylvan elf is one of the branches of the ancient elven bloodline. Only beastkin who have awakened their bloodline power may carry that title. All others are merely lesser imitation elves. Lori has no interest in engaging. She states coldly that she is nothing more than the Lord's personal maid, and that is the only title she holds. Islaria refuses to let it go, grabbing Lori's arm and pressing for answers. Lori fixes her with a look of pure disgust. By the way, you said you were delivering food, but I didn't see a single dish. What I did see was the shattered lamp by the door. My master keeps some things from me, but he has never once lied to me. You, on the other hand, we saved you, and instead of gratitude, you skulk around causing trouble. It was my plea that convinced him to bring you home. So if you ever do anything to harm my master, I will kill you myself. Warning delivered. Lori knocks on Seraphina's door. To be honest, Lori isn't exactly warm toward this woman either. Cedric has been far too generous with her for Lori's liking. After a short wait, Seraphina opens the door, a light sheen of sweat on her skin. What is it, Lori? Did Cedric need something? The moment Seraphina says Cedric's name, Lori feels a flicker of irritation. The master is asking you to come with me and this elf to see Mrs. Chris. Also, I have a few questions for you. Seraphina, are you in love with Master? Lori's bluntness catches Seraphina completely off guard. She had always known this confrontation would come eventually, just never this soon or this sharp. I do have feelings for Cedric, but that's because it's the dream, isn't it? Lori cuts her off with barely concealed jealousy, demanding to know exactly what happened between Seraphina and Cedric in that dream. Seraphina panics. How is she supposed to say this out loud? She certainly can't describe what Cedric did to her in that dream. After a brief internal struggle, Seraphina crosses her arms and says she doesn't think she owes anyone that answer. Lori refuses to back down. She warns Seraphina to keep her distance from Cedric, because she is the one who will one day have his children. Seraphina falls into turmoil. Her whole life has been lived for the church. She has never once had anything that was truly her own. Now that she finally has feelings that belong to her and no one else, can she really let them quietly die? She backs Lori into the corner, musters every ounce of her courage, and whispers fiercely, "This is so unfair. I've watched Cedric be close with you so many times already. You want to know what happened in the dream? Then I'll tell you. In that dream, for the sake of having a child, Cedric went 17,395 rounds with me." Lori's eyes go blank. Tears instantly well up and spill over. That's not fair. After the wave of hysteria passes, Lori spins around to leave, but Seraphina grabs her. "You're absolutely right. It really isn't fair. Because in reality, you're the only one who has been close to him. Tonight, I'm going to find out exactly what that feels like." With that, she pulls Lori close and presses her lips to Lori's most sensitive spot. The sound of Lori's breathless cries echoes through the entire castle. Cedric sits in his study and mutters in puzzlement. He could have sworn he just heard Lori's voice. That shouldn't be possible. This floor and the meeting hall below are both lined with the finest soundproofing materials. Must be the exhaustion getting to him. Auditory hallucinations. Blissfully unaware of what is unfolding outside, Cedric is deep in the villain system's lottery. Having completed his recent villain system missions, Cedric has earned one spin of the lottery. Against all odds, this spin triggers a critical bonus. His existing female undead soldiers are upgraded into Phantom Dread Cavalry. An eerie aura seeps into the room. As 10 undead riders on black horses materialize before him, Cedric checks their stats and immediately starts to worry. If the Holy Church ever caught wind of these, they'd send angels to wipe him out in a heartbeat. For now, before he can forge proper armor for them, he'll have to keep them hidden. With that taken care of, Cedric is finally ready to get some sleep. But the moment he steps out, he finds Lori standing there with a grievance written all over her face. After hearing her out, Cedric learns what happened between her and Seraphina. Cedric reassures Lori that while he went nearly 20,000 rounds with someone in a dream, none of that was real. Tonight, he says, it's time to make it real. Lori trembles with excitement and tackles Cedric onto the bed. The two of them spend the night in wild, passionate abandon. When it's all over, Cedric holds Lori close and drifts into a deep, satisfied sleep. But he has barely drifted off before a fluffy tail against his neck jolts him awake. He looks up to find Seraphina leaning over him in her nightgown. She leans down and breathes softly against his ear. "I want you, please?" Then she gives him a gentle push and rolls him onto his back. "You love this spot, don't you?" And she guides his hand to her softest place. Cedric's body is screaming. Seriously, who could hold out against this? He desperately plays dead and pretends to sleep. But Lori starts breathing softly against his other ear, pushing him right to the edge. He's done for. Tonight is going to push him to his absolute limit. Little does he know, this whole scene was arranged by Seraphina and Lori together. The next day, Cedric shuffles into the council hall on unsteady legs. If today weren't prime cash cow day, he would have stayed in bed without question, right? Alfred had warned him the treasure was nearly dry, so he had set his sights on the wealthy merchants. Seeing everyone has arrived, Cedric gets straight to the point. He has recently developed a brand new product called perfume. He intends to introduce it to the aristocratic market. The merchants of this world have never encountered anything like it before, and their curiosity is impossible to hide. A single whiff, and they feel as though they're riding through a field of blossoms in full bloom. Seeing everyone hooked, Cedric lays out the business model. He has Lori distribute the proposal he prepared. Agents are ranked from 1 star to 5 star. The higher the rank, the greater the distribution rights, and the more generous the tax reduction that comes with it. And to climb the ranks, merchants must invest upfront with Cedric. This move leaves the entire room of cash cows genuinely stunned, but faced with the irresistible allure of the perfume market. Many of them open their purses without hesitation. Not everyone pays for a 5-star slot, but this round still fills Cedric's coffers beyond his expectations. With business wrapped up, he heads to the balcony to check on Bubble in her fountain. Ever since being stationed here, she has been working alongside the Hellfire Warrior. He's a tough company, but he always leaves her feeling flushed. At the sight of Cedric, Bubble lights up with excitement. In truth, Cedric has come to have her attempt another immersion in the primal essence, to see if her beastkin bloodline can awaken further. Bubble presses her hands together and focuses with all her heart. This time, the vision that comes is different. In it, her people lose their lives and sink to the ocean floor. Her father appears, urging her to flee. Bubble jolts awake, and through the fading vision, she barely catches her father's final words: "Run, do not become a vessel of the gods." The moment the words leave her lips, her eyes roll back and she collapses. Cedric rushes over. He checks her status panel. Bubble's awakening is complete. The collapse was simply from exhaustion after a successful awakening. But what exactly did she mean? Vessel of the gods. Could it be connected to the divine power within Beastkin? The thought sparks a flash of clarity in Cedric's mind. Of course, the gods cannot walk the material plane of the Kane continent. They are bound to their own divine realms. But in their hunger for worship and greater divine power, some gods will stop at nothing to find a way down into the mortal world. And Beastkin who carry divine power are exactly the kind of vessel that makes that possible. No wonder the Beastkin kingdoms have been targeted. It was all to steal divine essence and complete their divine cores. If his theory holds, then Beastkin who have awakened their bloodline power would be the perfect vessels for the gods to fight over. Lori loops her arm through his and asks gently what's on his mind. Before Cedric can even speak, Seraphina presses close from the other side, not to be outdone. Looking at the two of them by his side, Cedric feels the tension leave his chest. Whatever the god's intentions may be, as long as he draws breath, he will never allow the Beastkin around him to become anyone's vessel. Things quickly get very hands-on. Seraphina is completely overwhelmed. Cedric never could have imagined that every intimate encounter with the Beastkin would earn him villain points. After 300 rounds of thorough research, Cedric successfully unlocks the level 2 barracks. With plenty of villain points on hand, he goes ahead and constructs the Hermitage. This facility can directly summon battle priests. Studying the stats of his new unit, Cedric makes a mental note. He'll have to spend more quality time with his 2 Beastkin companions going forward. At the same time, having completed the Saintess Conquest mission, the system rewards him with one more lottery spin. This time, he pulls a mysterious crystal shard and a mysterious egg. Staring at the glowing blue shard in his hand, Cedric has an odd sense that it was knocked off something much larger. And sure enough, the necklace around Aiden's neck lets out a sharp crack. The shard in Cedric's hand is a fragment chipped right from it. At the same moment, a massive wave of players receives a forced logout notification. Emergency game update: to enrich the player experience, 500 new player slots are now open to join the Eagle's Domain faction. New classes available. Welcome aboard. Of all the things Cedric could have expected, this is not one of them. One intimate session with a Beastkin, and suddenly he has 500 new recruits. The mysterious crystal shard he obtained is a fragment of Malone Alone's divine core. Whoever holds it gains the power to recruit players. Most of the core's power still rests with Aiden for now, but Cedric is confident that if he keeps completing villain system missions, he'll collect every last shard. The next day, Cedric gathers all the players in the square and lays down the rules of Eagle's domain. War is coming. I will tear down the corrupt dynasty and build a new order. Every one of you summoned to Eagle's domain will stand beside me when we remake this world in blood. Cedric surveys the crowd below, buzzing with excitement, and feels thoroughly satisfied. Then his tone shifts. But living in Eagle's domain means following the rules. Someone will take you through the layout shortly. They'll make it very clear what you may do and what will get you killed on the spot. He also assigns the players their leveling missions. With so many beastkin having recently moved into the city, the fastest path to leveling up right now is logging, mining, and construction. The words barely leave his mouth before every player receives a class change notification. 5 classes are available: Swordsman, Knight, Master Archer, Sacred Warriors, and